Hi, I'm Sophie, and I haven't seen a lot of movies.
Hi, I'm Paul, and I'm here to help with that. And we are
SP Film Viewers. Happy Easter, everyone! Can't miss an opportunity for a season or a celebration because I love them. And if I could decorate the house like I could for Christmas with Easter, and Paul would let me, I would. So I thought it was definitely apt to watch a Easter movie.
much to my dismay and disgust.
Well, to be fair, I didn't actually go out on my way to research what Easter movies were out there. I left Paul to that. I did recommend there is an Easter movie with James Corden in.
I mean, I don't know if that is actually an Easter movie.
I think
it's the Beatrix Potter adaptation of Peter Rabbit with James Corden in. I don't know if that's equates as being Easter related. I've no idea.
I feel like that's like saying there's a Christmas movie with just elves in it. Is it a Christmas movie? It's like, well, it's still a bunny. It's close enough. I'm going to class that as an Easter movie.
But I know for a fact that this is definitely more targeted as the Easter movie. I don't know if there's any other ones other than, like more religious, Christian-based ones, possibly. But because you mentioned it, I kind of looked and begrudgingly went, okay, well, let's watch this. This might be at least amusing to do an episode on of ripping on it, or maybe on my part. I don't know about you, but we can go through that as we come to it.
Yeah, definitely. We'll go along with it. So the movie that Paul decided to pick to put himself through,
and having, as you may have seen on the socials, had a few bevies to get me through, is Hop, the 2011 Illumination Studios animation film. These guys obviously made Despicable Me. That was their first film before this one.
Right.
And this was their attempt at doing a live action animation film, and they've not done one since.
Okay.
Which kind of reflects, from what we witnessed, why that might be the case, why they decided let's just keep doing the animation. Although, to be fair, after Despicable Me 2 and, the Minions movies, and it's kind of just getting old, and they're just not a particularly great studio for animation, sadly, and it's kind of it comes on the opening of the film with the little minions wearing Easter costumes and whatever, and it's just
I feel like they did really well with the Minions and obviously Despicable Me, and I think that's one of the things where it's been so blown out of proportion that it kind of gets a bit irritating.
Yep, definitely.
And I think that's for me, like, how I would personally feel like, yeah, it was good at the time. Now looking back at it and it's still being like hyped and kind of like a thing, it's like... It's
hyped in a way of like, you just see it on like Facebook posts of like mums in their 40s or whatever just doing these stupid little posts about them, and it's...
Yeah, definitely.
But I'll also say that there might be some swearing in this episode, and we did a thing on Twitter and Instagram as well, and asking people whether our episode should include any more expletives or not. But general consensus seems to be it's like, do what you want really with it. But I guess if it's not going to be like effing and jeffing all the way through every other word kind of thing, but if you feel passionate about something, that's the only way you can sort of express that emotion, then I guess that's fair to do. So I guess
I feel like if you're saying an FYI, so obviously if people are aware of that, that's going to be within the podcasts as well, if you know that it's going to be kind of driving that.
The point home.
Yeah. I don't think I probably will as much as you. I don't know. It must really rattle me.
Yeah. I think that's the way it would be, really. If it's something that really annoys you, then it's probably the best, the way that would best express your annoyance
yeah.
with it, I suppose. So,
So, shall we go into the movie of Hop?
I guess so, yeah. We begin with like a illustrative sequence of pictures showing like the Easter bunnies of yesteryear and all this kind of stuff, and immediately goes into basically telling you who our main protagonist is and the outcome of the story. Basically, it's kind of like, yeah, oh, that person was me kind of thing, and it's
like, I'm the Easter Bunny, and it's a human, and it's like, wait a minute, I'd like to have figured that out myself, that was going to happen.
Yeah, not a retelling of this is how it happened kind of thing, and it's...
To be fair, though, there's a bit of a twist. It's not... it's not literally that he's just the Easter Bunny in the end, is it?
I guess, but... So, yeah, anyway.
So kind of... I do think, to be fair, I would like... Not that I'm one of those that is against a film that tells you exactly what it is. I prefer kind of sometimes that than me use my own imagination because I can drive myself insane.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd like to watch the film and then figure out the ending, not be told the ending before I even watched something.
Yeah. I mean, it's giving it that impression that it's like some deep, meaningful, epic retelling of how this all happened, but it's... I'll say off the bat, the story is not the strongest suit of this at all.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
How do you feel like this coincides with Noel, the Christmas film?
Oh, it's by comparison, that's like way up there in terms of the storytelling and everything like that.
So you prefer Noel?
If you're putting in which one to watch, then Noel would win over the top of that. So
brilliant. I was just thinking because I feel like this is a little bit on the same kind of storyline. That's why I thought I'd ask the question, because obviously...
Yeah, I guess it's...
Somebody's needing to replace Santa or Easter Bunny. Who's going to be it? And it's not the actual person who's meant to be it. So that's kind of the...
Yeah. I can see where you're trying to drive from that, yeah.
Yeah, so, okay. So maybe you should have marked Noel higher then.
Speaking of characters that are kind of like you don't want to be told about things straight off the bat, obviously we're introduced to like the factory where all the Easter eggs are made and all the candies, as they're calling it.
Yeah, I didn't get this because we're from the UK.
Yeah.
We get chocolate eggs as Easter eggs.
The main Easter
is like
eggs,
chocolate.
Yeah.
So then when they were on about candy, I was like, okay. So like looked like jelly beans and stuff like that.
Gummy bears and all that kind of stuff. And those little Hershey's Kisses.
They taste disgusting. Like, I
don't
know what...
America, but they just... I don't get the point of them, really.
Their chocolate is not chocolate. It's not nice. Sorry. And I was a little bit like, is this an American thing then? With the candy?
Well, they're trying to market it that way, aren't they? Despite the fact that, obviously, the Easter Bunny, or the father of the Easter Bunny, is a British voice, Hugh Laurie.
It's clearly British.
And also the son is, at this point, isn't Russell Brand as yet, but why have they got British accents if they're saying about candy? Like, I don't know, that seems a bit odd, really, but...
Like, I understand, like, they need to be universal, and obviously they need to cater for the whole wide world.
Yeah.
I get that. Apart from China, for some reason, the Easter Bunny apparently doesn't come to you.
Yeah.
I don't get why that was in there. Like, unless does China eat rabbits? I don't know. I didn't really get that pun of why the...
No, I don't know really what that joke was.
Like, why that was there.
Is China the big bad of the world? I don't know. Don't like anything.
Maybe it's because they can make their own eggs, because they make everything else, to be fair.
But anyway, my point being, obviously, it's going through the factory, seeing all this bright, colourful, like, wow, this is amazing kind of thing, and it's like kind of drawing you into the world a little bit, which I'll give it that was quite a good point about it, kind of like, I feel like it's stayed with this style, basically. If it wasn't so much the live action stuff that we get to down the line, then it was more focused on that kind of stuff, then that would probably work a lot better in this film's favour. But there's obviously this chick character called Carlos, who I didn't twig straight away, but it was voiced by Hank Azaria. I was saying, like, why is he putting on like a Spanish accent kind of thing. Like, what's the point of that? Is that some sort of like some stereotypical racism thing going on there? Like, Spanish people are evil? I don't know.
Oh, right, I thought you were on about all Spanish people with chickens or something, the way you're going on about
No.
that.
Like, obviously, because you can tell, like, from the get-go, he's the villain. It's like,
Yes.
there's not even any subtlety to it.
Well,
with
I
it. It's just...
actually, this is the first note I wrote down, that he's an angry bird.
Yeah.
You know,
literally.
the game. Do you remember that game? It used to be the
That
thing,
kind of,
didn't it?
Yeah.
Everyone
Kind
was
of dense.
playing it.
Yeah.
And he's going to either explode, or because he's not going to get what he wants.
Yeah.
And he's going to then return the baddie, and I already clocked that. But no, I 100% agree with you on the factory. I wrote that as being quite magical. Like, for a child to watch that and immerse it.
Yeah.
Like, trying to get that kind of, when you go into Santa's grotto and you see the elves making the toys.
Yeah, it's trying to go for that.
It really did work, and my inner child, I felt like, if I'd have seen that as a little girl,
yeah,
I'd have been like, and any other child, I'd hope, would feel the same. And I think if they did carry on along that line in the Easter Island instead of in Hollywood or wherever we were, it would have worked a lot better. Also, I have a bit of a gripe with his name, the main bunny.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what they were saying, and I kept on saying to Paul, what is this rabbit's name? I was like, Evie? Then you said, it's EB, and I'm like, well, EB? Ibe? I'm like, what is he saying to me?
So it's EB, the abbreviation for Easter Bunny.
Well, you even said this, and I still didn't get it. You went, it's the abbreviation for Easter Bunny, and I'm like, how is it when he's saying Evie? He's literally...
It's just because they're saying it so fast, but... EB. It does sound a bit stupid, doesn't it? But...
Yes, and then I was like, when you said, I'm like, E.T., it came into my head, like, is that where we're at? Like, we need to have a little dot in the middle, because you need to be E.B.
E.B.
It's like JT, isn't it? It's like one of those kind of...
Yeah.
Annoying names.
Or TJ or whatever.
You shouldn't name your children these names. And technically, he's not the Easter Bunny yet.
No, exactly. He's the Easter Bunny's son.
So should it be EBS?
EBJ. Easter Bunny Jr.
Yeah, or Easter Bunny's son.
Yeah, because the dad doesn't have he's just called Easter Bunny's dad in the
We don't even know what his name is, do we? He's never really approached in that way. So we get to EB running away, don't we, eventually?
Yeah, we're slightly jumping ahead there, but obviously it's kind of like this will be yours, son, in a few years' time. I think, and then we also get a thing of we cut to in California where the young Fred O'Hare, who's our lead.
I do like him.
As a kid, and kind of like a bit like when Santa and Christmas Eve, you see this sleigh.
Oh, the sleigh
with the chicks playing. I'm thinking, so really.
I'm like, what is this trying to be? Is this trying to be like Santa's with the reindeers because this is not working? And how many chickens? And they were only little.
I know, it's like, God knows how many.
It was ridiculous. It's like, I'm sure a bunny would have done better. Hopping or something like that. Why did he need a sleigh?
I don't know that, because...
he didn't go to China, so, it's a half day's journey.
No, there's a good point, because I thought, well, as you see in a little while, that they have the ability to use portals to get to wherever they need to do. So, why can't they just do that unless it's some sort of restriction, like safe zones or checkpoints where you can only go to this location at this point to get, and you can't go any. It's kind of not just dotted it wherever you want.
In my opinion, from what I thought the Easter Bunny was, is he had a basket and he hops around the city.
Mm-hmm.
So to be fair, he could be you could have one Easter Bunny in the UK, you could have another Easter Bunny. I didn't think he was just this one magical Santa Claus that went round in one night.
Couldn't you say that for Santa, though? You could say you have a UK Santa and then a Mexican Santa.
Yeah, but the story is that he goes around the world in one night, isn't it? Yeah. So, whereas they never said about the Easter Bunny going around in the world in one night.
No, so they think they're just playing on that a little bit to make it
I think they're trying to make it more like Christmas.
Yeah.
Or, like you're saying, he hops around and he goes underground, does this
Yeah.
bunny, to deliver
Yeah.
his eggs. It's not like it's the heavy, is it?
No, exactly.
You know, not like what Santa's got to do. Santa's got some heavy lifting to do.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on what somebody wants for Christmas, it could really fluctuate, whereas everybody's getting some chocolate eggs here.
Yeah.
And some candy.
Yeah.
It's not a hard job.
No. So then we cut to 20 years later, and we have the now Russell Brand voiced rabbit on a drum kit playing Good Charlotte's anthem song.
Yeah,
thinking,
right. That's Panic at the Disco, that is. And Paul's like, no, it's not, it's Good Charlotte. And I was like, oh, yeah. Because actually, believe it or not, I used to like that music when I'm not saying I don't now, but...
You were a bit more of an emo
Yeah,
chick. Yeah.
It was around the era when it was cool to be that.
Yeah.
And there was lots more music available for that, I feel.
Yeah, it was very much of the early 2000s time, I think. I think that song was like maybe 2001, I think, even. That song.
God, you're making me feel old.
So, yeah. And he has a bit of a strop because his dad's saying, like, come on, you've got to be the Easter Bunny now. He's like, I don't want to be the Easter Bunny, kind of thing. And he's
so ungrateful. Like, who wouldn't want to be the Easter Bunny? Like, I know your dad had, well, to be fair, if your dad was the Easter Bunny, nobody would be getting any eggs.
Eat half the stock, yeah.
He would be massive. He'd need to deliver the eggs just for the exercise. He loves any Easter egg, doesn't he? It's like your dad's Christmas.
Except, he prefers Cadbury's. That's his favourite chocolate, but he's not so keen on the really cheapo chocolate.
He'd still eat it.
Begrudgingly, I think, yeah.
He'd whine about it, but he'd eat it.
If there was no other option, yeah, he would, yeah.
Yeah.
But,
so I think this bunny, EB, is a little bit ungrateful. Yeah. I understand, like, you want to be...
your own thing, yeah.
And I get that, but that could be a hobby. You could drum on the side and then be Easter Bunny.
Yeah, which his dad kind of says, oh, it's good to have a hobby, and but you have responsibilities, and everything. So it's obviously that a bit of a, here we go again, that tried and tested, oh, I want you to take over the family business, but I don't want to take over the family business.
I always think people are really ungrateful because, like, my family doesn't have a family business.
It's mine, but most people's. But
to be fair, getting a job is not that easy. So if you've just been handed one and they want to employ you and pay you, and you don't want to take that on, like, I wish I had a farm. Like, I wish my mum was a farmer. And then I'd take on her land, and it's like, and somebody not wanting that, I'm just like, I get it, you have your own dreams and aspirations, but I think, to be fair, if somebody wanted me to be Easter Bunny, I'd take it, but then I'd be really wanting to be I'd want to be Santa. Yeah,
that would be your dream, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I would be brilliant Santa. That's why I loved Noel so much, because it actually meant I could possibly be a female Santa.
And then we have obviously seeing Fred O'Hare grown up, and he seems like he's a bit of a slacker, and he's kind of like, I don't know if he's living with his parents kind of thing, or bumming it out at their place. And
he's living with his parents, but he's moved out, but obviously he lost his job, or his job got made redundant or something, resizing the firm, so he's been living with his parents for a year, and they do this awkward intervention
thing. Yeah, that was fucking cringe.
Who does that? Like,
and also the fact that this adopted child is there saying it as well, and she is like, what's she got to say about the thing, other than the fact that, oh, is that why you adopted me, because Fred was such a disappointment or something? It's like, well, what the hell?
Yeah, because it was a little bit awkward.
Keep your nose out of this.
We were like a little bit like, is she a daughter? Because, like, she doesn't look like any of the family. Like, how does she link into this? And obviously she's adopted, so that's cleared up.
Yeah,
but
I wasn't sure, because also we've got Penny from Big Bang Theory in this as well. I wasn't sure whether she was like his girlfriend, Fred's girlfriend, that is, or not, but she's just the sister. But not that it makes much difference, really, because she didn't have a great lot of screen time in this, to be fair. But
no, to be fair, she doesn't, and I think, thankfully for her career, it's a good thing that she doesn't.
Yeah. Did you actually, I don't know if you actually clocked, the lead guy, Fred, what he filmed we've seen him in recently?
I know him. I know him, and I like him.
Right. But do you know what 10 out of 10 film you gave.
Oh,
And he was in it.
Was it this year?
Yes.
This is so bad.
A chick flick.
Chick flick. Wait, don't tell me. Awkward silence. Give me a clue. Another clue.
It was around Valentine's.
Wasn't The Notebook?
Yes, it was in the Notebook.
Was it?
Yeah, he was, the rich other love interest of Rachel McAdams.
No.
Yes, it was.
I didn't like him.
It was him.
No. Really?
Yeah, really.
Trying to look now. This is me trying to envision him.
No, it was him. It was him.
Yeah, I think it is. I prefer him in this one. Not a sleazeball. He seems a nicer character, to be fair. I thought I liked him in The Notebook, but no.
Well, no,
I thought I knew him from somewhere and it was annoying me.
Yeah.
But I don't think I really said it because I was really enjoying you suffering this film, but I didn't want to distract you.
Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah. But I haven't seen another film where he's working with another CGI animal character, that being Sonic the Hedgehog, the one that came out fairly recently. I'd be interested to see that one, just to see how. I know obviously they changed his design to be more like Sonic, but I would out of interest to see how the stories would have gone really with that. I mean, I'm not the biggest Sonic fan really. I do like the idea of Sonic and stuff, but I'm not like a big fanboy of him. But
I loved the games, me.
Yeah,
I absolutely loved it. And what are the little things called? I used to not actually play the Sonic games, and I would actually just go.
Oh, the Chow Garden.
Oh my goodness!
Whatever game that was from, DX or something from GameCube.
I loved it. I actually just went round being Sonic, collecting the rings, so then I could create my Chow Garden and the eggs. That was a whole new game for me. That was Sonic then. So like people say, "Oh, do you like Sonic?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Do you remember the little things?" And people look at me like, "What is she on about?" If they haven't played that game.
Most people know the Sega days when you just ran around the track and just did the levels, and it was over in like 3 stages, and you just fought Robotnik at the end. But
I also used to get really upset because your chows could turn good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
I had a chow heaven, and they were all good, and they were that perfect that they had little halos. But then one of them became bad, and he had little horns and wings. I was like, "What the hell have I done wrong to this one?" It's like raising a baby.
Right.
It is. Could you feed him things? Anyways, diverse.
Yeah. So I just thought I'd throw that in there. The fact that he must have thinking, wow, he had a good run with this film. Let's put him in a thing like maybe 10 years down the line. Let's put him in another CGI animated.
I'd be interested to review that with you, just because I know you thought the design worked for Sonic initially.
That was so hilarious. So every time I saw it, try to burst out when it revealed him. He's just so funny. Oh, what an abomination.
You proper had a beef with it, didn't you? And I'm like, it doesn't look that bad.
Like I say, I'm not a really big Sonic fanboy, but it was just like, what have you done? How could you mess up so badly with that?
But to be fair to Paul, he is quite creative, and obviously you do illustration and animation, so you would spot it from a mile off.
Anyone would spot that from a mile off. If you said Sonic, you'd know that isn't Sonic. But anyway, yes.
No, because I just played with the chows, so I didn't know. Yeah.
So obviously now EB having his little paddy strop decides he wants to go to Hollywood, where he's going to make it as a big drummer. Thinking, I normally associate Hollywood with acting and stuff, not being in the band. But I know you get bands from LA and California, whatever. So his first point of call is going to the Playboy Mansion. It's like, let's have a good joke here about, this, this, I am both a bunny and sexy, and this is where sexy bunnies live. I'm thinking, oh my God, what the fuck?
I'm so sorry. It was so hilarious, your face. You were like...
I can't believe they put this in a kid's film, is what I'm meaning, really.
Yeah. You were proper cringe with it. You were like mortified, like... Do you know, though, I quite enjoyed that just for your face. Like, this movie for me was like putting me through something that I don't enjoy, and then you were
It's
like
just like,
squiggling in your
you
seat.
moan about half the things in Monster Match. You're thinking, right, let's make Paul suffer.
And I did.
Day.
I didn't know an Easter film would make you suffer this bad.
Oof. Yeah.
Oh, it was hilarious. So yeah, the fact that this, obviously, the Playboy Mansion didn't want this Easter Bunny because obviously it's male. So that's the reason, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Well,
I did think
go on.
The pink berets were going to get in. I was thinking, oh no, is this going to go to a whole new level when the sexy girl bunnies come along?
Yeah, that could have been a bit more risky.
Like, oh no.
Yeah, well, you can come in, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it was more like, is this some kind of prank or something? Because it's like, yeah. So that's how that went. We'll get to the pink berets shortly. But so then we obviously get the interaction between our two leads of him going to this, Fred driving to this mansion that a sister's looking after, like house sitting basically. So he can stop there because he hasn't really got a place to proper stay out because he's sleeping in his car. So he drives up to this.
Yeah, his parents kick him out of the house. Like,
here's another trope, number 57. The disapproving father who thinks he's looks down on his son for not doing well and kind of stuff.
Yeah,
seen that before. And then he kind of runs into, or I say runs into.
He runs over.
He hardly touches him though. It's like a speed of like not even about 5 miles an hour, and he's gonna fall over on the floor, and then he's proper rubbing. Oh no, he doesn't do that quite right because Fred gets out of the car, and then it's like, I'm gonna end your suffering, and thinking he picks up this massive rock and thinking, yes, please, just end it there.
So is it EB that is your problem then? Is that like the main issue? Like to kill him off? Would that make the movie any better? Is it because
the film would end there, wouldn't it? If that was the case. Russell Brand, I do not like at all.
What's the beef with that? Why?
He's just... It's just another one of those things that everybody thinks he's like so fabulous and amazing.
Because he dated Katy Perry?
That's nothing to do with it. He's irritating, like, voice, and it's just his mannerisms and things. He's God's gift to everybody. It's that kind of...
Like a woman magnet, isn't he? A little bit.
Everyone seems to like.
But to me, I think he looks a little bit gay. Like, I don't know why. I just think that's what vibe I get. Like, I don't fancy him at all. And does he always wear like leather pants?
Yeah, his choice of dress is just
sweating all the time.
He looks messy, greasy.
Yeah,
with his hair and everything. Yeah.
I'll agree.
Yeah, so it's beef, and it's just I just don't like the certain actors and whatever, or personalities, should I say, maybe, that it's just like so overhyped, and I just don't like them for that. A bit like, when you say like certain artists and bands or whatever, and you don't like them because they're overplayed too much, and it's kind of like, I'm sick of this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And James Corden is another instance of that. He's just, I don't know,
he's naturally funny.
He's really not.
Like a humble guy.
No, he's not.
He's chubby too, so that makes him lovable.
No.
At least he doesn't wear leather pants.
No, but he tries too hard.
James Corden, like a date James Corden over Russell. Would.
Right. Back to killing the rabbit off, the wabbit.
Can I have some rabbit stew?
And then before he obviously is like, oh no, don't do that kind of thing, and then he starts talking to him, and then
which rabbits don't normally talk to humans.
So then Fred runs off in like this, that was going to predictably happen, but it doesn't take him. It's not like this run away and then he's kind of hiding in the house and everything, and that is pretty short lived in how long that takes for him to kind of accept the fact that the rabbit's talking. It's not like like throwing stuff at him or something when he gets in the house or anything. Like kind of more freaked out.
The rabbit of why can you talk? Like, I know if a talking rabbit came into my house or any talking animal, that would be my first question. I'd be shocked and want to run away. But then I'd be like, well, are you magical? Why can you talk?
Yeah.
Like, why hasn't that been asked sooner? Like, first of all, why are you here? What do you want? And why can you talk? I wouldn't just be like, okay, yep, that's a talking rabbit, that's just ruining my life. I'd be questioning the rabbit, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You wouldn't just be like, oh, okay, well, I'm stuck with him now. He
Yeah.
talks and he's just ruining my life. That's literally what
Happens, yeah. So, and then obviously this kind of like thing happens with EB saying, "Oh, you've really hurt me leg here. I've got to, it's kind of like I'll be okay. You've only just broken my leg and stuff, and I'll just think about me while I'm, going about my business and save baby aspirins for babies in case you run over a baby." And it's like, really, what? Why are you saying these things in a children's film? And
I feel like there's a little bit of a adult kind of trying to humour get in.
It doesn't work at all.
Maybe for some adults it does.
Do you think the Playboy Mansion gag was a hit?
No, it wasn't personally for me, but everybody has different humours and some that might crack somebody up something chronic. Obviously, hopefully this stuff will go over children's heads.
You'd hope. Yeah. But we do have obligatory pee and poop mention. When he's put in the, obviously, you can stay the night, but you can sleep in the garage with the, put paper bedding down for him. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll sleep in my pee and poo like a dirty pig. And it's like, that's one of the things I remember for the trailer. I'm thinking that almost insipid voice, and it's just like, that's just grates on me really badly, and it's just like, it's not funny or clever or anything. Saying that.
To be fair though, a rabbit would be actually in like a rabbit hut.
Yes.
And it'd have hay.
Yes.
We actually had rabbits when I was a little girl.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've ever had a pet rabbit.
No, I know some people who did though. Or guinea pigs at least.
So I don't know if I've ever told the story of my pet rabbit on our...
Don't think you have on here, no.
So, as it's Easter, we'll digress a little bit from you hating on Hop and just put a little bit of nice little humour about a bunny rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
So,
little bunny rabbit story.
So my sister and me both got bunny rabbits at the same time. She got like a brownie one, I think. Yeah, and we both wanted girl bunny rabbits because we didn't want any funny business.
The thing that bunnies are known for doing.
Yeah, exactly. And I got a white one and mine was called Snowy. I don't really know what Sarah's was called, can't remember.
That's a highly original name.
It was. I was only about 10.
Right.
Or maybe a little bit younger, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And when people tell you how to know about the birds and the bees?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, mine was told by rabbits. Let's just say that mine was a boy and Sarah's was a girl. So that crushed me because it's like, why the hell couldn't mine have been the girl and hers have been the boy?
What would it have mattered? Because it still would have happened regardless.
That's fine, but I wanted a girl.
Right.
And I got a boy.
Yeah. So the pet shop or wherever you bought it from got it wrong.
They got it wrong. They got the sex wrong.
Hmm.
And they told me it was...
Was it some sketchy little back alley thing or something?
No, it wasn't. It was a cute little pet shop in like when pet shops were actual pet shops. Yeah. Back in the day, where you could actually buy a dog from a pet shop.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can do that now.
No way you could do that now.
No. So it's an actual little pet shop in a little village that we used to live in.
Uh-huh.
And they looked, and obviously this bunny looked like a female, and obviously it wasn't. So we ended up having loads of little bunnies.
Mm-hmm.
It was adorable. I think there was that many. What's that song about? Sugar and spice and all things nice.
That's what little boys are made of, or little girls, should I say.
And then it goes on to what the boys are made from.
Summit and snails and puppy dogs' tails.
Yeah.
Or something, yeah.
So we ended up being able to name, we didn't call anyone slug and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we had like salt and pepper, and we had sugar and
spice
and we ended up naming all these. I think we must have had about 10 little rabbits.
Yeah.
So obviously we couldn't keep them all, sadly, because that'd been far too much. We obviously kept them while they were babies.
Yeah.
And kind of sort of gave them back to the pet shop. But that was one of the questions where I went to my mummy, so how did that happen then? Which might have been a bit too early for me to really know, but
there you go.
Animals are really good to teach you things. So going back onto the fact that you hated this movie so much, what did you think of kind of the fact that obviously he wants to be a drummer? You've got the Pink Berets coming soon to come after.
Yeah, pretty much coming up to that part now, really. What was your real question to that?
Do you think, of all things, of him being a drummer rabbit, do you think you'd wanted him being anything else? Like,
I mean, I didn't have a problem with that factor, but
oh, okay.
The fact, whatever gimmick you want with your character, that's fine. But I'm going to say the fact that wasn't really, despite all that, it wasn't really heavily played on too much throughout the story. To be fair, he does a couple of instances where he is drumming, like other songs and things, but it kind of just peters out a little bit. No pun intended there. But I have no problem with him being a drummer, or he could be a lead singer in a metal band for all I care. But
yeah, you'd love that, wouldn't you?
But the Pink Berets, when they come in, they slow like the Easter Bunny's, like King's Guard or whatever you want to call them.
They're like the elves with attitude from the Santa Claus film. They're badass elves, though. They have tinsel that like cuts through metal. Like,
right.
They are hardcore elves. The Pink Berets, one needs an inhaler.
Yeah, there was like it's with that it was kind of like, well, these obviously trying to give them personality, but I mean, only one of them was slightly different than the other ones. It seemed a bit more clumsier than the other ones, like jumping at the last second and kind of like face palming on the floor kind of thing and stuff like that. The correlation I immediately saw with that was like Alvin and the Chipmunks, because there's the three of them. Funny enough, the director of this film also did make Alvin and the Chipmunks. The live action. I don't know if you ever saw that film. That was pretty terrible too.
I do like the Chipmunks.
I like the cartoon back in the day, but not the CGI live action one as well. So, they had like a little, I don't know if you clocked like their own like theme song as they kind of like came into.
I know, I didn't notice.
Just very brief. I kind of was, but yeah. Then obviously they go to they're trying to bring EB back and go to the Playboy Mansion because obviously that's where they can smell where he's been.
And they've got this tracking device on the phone where, like, I don't know if it's the sense or the smell or something. I don't know how this phone is tracking him unless he's got a tracker on him. But yeah, no, I do feel like the Pink Berets are copying like the elf kind of attitude thing.
Bit of wasted potential in a sense.
Yeah, and especially the one, I know I could relate to the clumsy one because I am clumsy, but I don't really feel I felt anything for them.
They didn't really add much. And again, that's another thing where they kind of didn't really add much to the story either. They're kind of just these odd glimpses where it's almost like the story is like, oh yeah, remember that he's been, having to be taken back to Easter Island. And they kind of just, there they are. They're coming to get him. As in amongst everything else that's going on. But
yeah, no, I get where you're coming from, but I think it was to drive it, wasn't it, really? So, like, for example, EB would have just sat in the car when
Fred was having his interview,
it's kind of those kind of things where then that comical, cringe, annoying scene comes in, and actually it's like I'd rather him just stayed in the car.
Yeah, exactly. I think Fred has the thing of like, oh, it was just a dream kind of thing, like he just made it all up, and then he hears EB on the rock band drums up in the room kind of thing, and it's like,
how did he get in?
Yeah, well, that's the point. Yeah,
the door was locked from the garage. I don't think there was a door into the house.
Might have been. We didn't see that, but
maybe that was locked, probably because he didn't come through that door.
Yeah.
So it's like, how did he get through into the house unless he's hopped through a window? It looks like he's come through the main door, and it's like, well, why the hell didn't you lock it?
Who knows?
Unless it's a dog flap.
Those dogs that you don't see until much later and things sound a bit weird, but because he was supposed to, feeding the dogs as well that never appeared. You think that'd be the first thing you see when you get into the house?
Well,
you know,
yeah,
guard
'cause
dogs.
it's going to greet you, normally.
Yeah.
That's what dogs do.
Yeah. But the thing about that annoys me is, like I said to you, is like we gets the remote to like stop him playing the drums or whatever, thinking like turn the TV off. Where it's like pauses the game with the remote. Like, that's not how that works. I mean, every time I've played like a Rock Band thing, you don't press the remote control. You play, you obviously the screen would be off, as in like turn the TV.
It'd still be going on.
Yeah.
With the console.
Unless you press the pause button on the controller or the start menu or whatever, that's how you stop the game. But there wasn't none of that. It was like, well, that doesn't make any sense.
I thought it would make more sense if you just turned it off.
That's what I thought he was doing initially,
but he
didn't. It's still on screen, so I don't know what that was all about. But then, as we go to this job interview that we mentioned, and then they kind of reel off this is where we're developing our music games called like Extreme such and such Master, and obviously it's not for copyright reasons, they're calling it some different games, and then there's like an instance where I was like, this is not like, oh, here we go, like a cringy moment of he's going into the building because he's trying to get away from the pink berets, and he's like, oh, stumbles into the thing, he hides behind a box, and he goes into the building, and then he discovers, oh, there's a room where these blind soul R&B blues singers are. And it's like, there's a drum kit missing, and it's like, oh, where's that guy who's supposed to be drumming? It's like, here we go, this is, well, he's going to start playing with them, and lo and behold, he does. And they're like, yeah, this is cool, man, kind of thing, and it's like, So that's one of the things, and he kind of sees, when Fred's walking around the thing, and he sees him in there, and it's like, oh, yeah. These kind of awkward situations where he's trying to hide the fact that he's talking to a rabbit.
Well,
like, what are you doing here, kind of thing, and it's like, messing up the interview. And
wouldn't you be trying to hide the fact that you talked to a rabbit if you were in his situation? Just be openly like, oh, here's my talking rabbit.
But it's always that cringy thing that you have with these kind of things, don't you? So it's like, it's so stupid. I mean, even in normal live action films, you can have that, can't you? When
sadly. Yeah. I hate anything like that. It's not my favourite thing to have in a film. And I kind of just switch off a little bit with it. I do think I didn't quite like the drumming aspect of it. So, like, you really didn't like that scene where, obviously, they didn't realise it was a rabbit.
Although they do say a line when he leaves. Like, go on. And obviously this is the crux of how he gets to be going to this, was like Britain's Got Talent type thing with David Hasselhoff.
Hoff's Got Talent.
So that's how that plot point comes across, to be doing that, pushing in the right direction there. But they kind of say, like, what was it, something, take care of yourself, little rabbit, or something. And it's like, how do you know I was a rabbit? And it's like, well, I don't know if that's just an expression that is a thing, or whether they actually knew. Well, how would they know because they're blind? I don't know what was going forward with that. I kind of just like glossed over that a little bit. But
I don't think it's because they knew. I think it's probably just a saying. Yeah.
Also, I had to point out the fact that EB can shit out jelly beans as his poo, and that's
God! I think he was so jealous about this because you love jelly beans.
Not jealous. I'm thinking, well, that's a disgusting concept, isn't it? Like having a jar of jelly beans and then eating rabbit droppings.
I'm going to say that now every time you pick one up. She loved jelly beans.
Oh, I do, yeah.
You're obsessed. I bought you a big box for Christmas. And they're all gone.
Already, yeah.
And it's one of those things where now I can tease you and go, do you know you're eating rabbit poo? Russell Brand rabbit poo at that.
But then they're obviously now having a chinwag in this diner, and kind of bringing up the fact that, oh, if you take me to this audition thing, then I'll kind of leave you alone. And this is one of those weird things that we question, like, he's talking to the rabbit, and he's worried that people think will freak out as well, that I'm talking to this rabbit can talk. And the waitress comes over and gives us another food, and then EB talks to this waitress, and she's like, don't bat an eyelid. And it's like, I don't understand. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Well, how does this world work? Do some people just are accepting of this talking rabbit, or it's like, oh, I saw Daffy Duck in here earlier or something. I don't know.
No, I don't think it's like that at all. I think it's more, it depends on what person you are. I think it's more that. So, like, she might be working and doing a day-to-day waitressing. She hasn't even clocked it's a rabbit. I think it's more that she's just like, oh, here's your food, right, next table, crack on.
You've been generous there, maybe, I don't know. But,
kind of thing. That's what I'm thinking. Or she just doesn't care.
yeah. But he does say a line when he's in the cafe or wherever, and he's saying the reason he can talk is magic and something else. I can't remember what the actual word was or something, but he's basically saying it's magic. That's the reason I can talk, really.
Which is valid because he's the Easter Bunny. But I'd rather him said, I'm the Easter Bunny. He never really says that, or I'm the Easter Bunny's son.
Well, he says the Easter Bunny. I think that's the point when he's saying about when he crapping out the jelly beans on his car. But he's kind of saying
said this earlier
to him, and this is where Fred's a bit more like, "Oh wow, you're the Easter Bunny."
He lies though. He says he's the Easter Bunny or been for a while, and he's not. And it's like this bit kind of annoys me from the movie because poor Fred is down in the dumps. He doesn't have a job. EB has ruined his job interview.
Yep.
That is possible chance. And now EB wants a favour off him for him to drive him to get his chance.
Yeah.
But when Fred wanted his opportunity and chance, EB ruined it. Yeah,
because it's so funny and whimsical. Oh, look at this rabbit, he's fucking up my job interview. Yeah.
Yeah, so it does annoy me. I think EB's very selfish.
Definitely, his personality, that's another thing I don't like about it. He's just very vocal about things, but he's kind of just like, oh, it's all about me, and just...
Yeah, that's no Easter Bunny. So
he's only looking out for number one, really.
Yeah, sadly. So obviously, Fred is kind enough to take
him, yeah.
EB to the Hoff's Got Talent.
Yeah.
Sadly, you get to see the Hoff, which is like, why are you in this film?
Yeah, I think he'll do anything for a quick buck, really. Really,
like some of the lines that he's got, it's like
he's the epitome of cringe in a way as well. I just like think. I mean, we've seen him on Britain's Got Talent, and he's a judge sometimes on that, or when we did watch it, and he's kind of just it's the way he comes across is no different from how he is in this. I think it's just maybe just how he is, but he makes a line about like again like think back to the accepting the fact that he's a talking rabbit. It says, "Oh, I've got a talking car," meaning obviously a nod to the Knight Rider series that he's most famous for, really, where it's from the TV. But with that though, I've never really watched any episodes of Knight Rider, but I know of it, and I'm pretty sure that's just a computer that's talking. It's not the car. It's not like it's like a
right. Like
not like a talk like from Pixar's Cars where it's got like eyes and mouth that work like a very, very cartoony way. It's just a computer essentially talking. So that's doesn't mean anything really, other than just like a nod. Oh, remember me? I was in Knight Rider kind of thing for the adults. But yeah, whatever. I just missed the part where, obviously, before that, I think there's Fred's sister's in the house, and he kind of sees that the.
I'd not missed that part. I kind of wanted to put that part to the back of my head.
Which part is this? Because there's two parts I've got written down here.
Mine's the bit where she sees EB.
Yeah.
And picks him up, thinking he's the cutest doll in the world.
Yeah.
And it's such a weird, cringy kind of scene because it's like EB's like a teenager, I feel. And obviously Penny from Big Bang Theory, well, she's beautiful. I'm like, oh my goodness, he's so cute. And she's hugging him and he's like weirdly looking like he's enjoying this.
Well, he sniffs her hair.
Hug and
like a fucking weirdo. Like, I don't like. It's a bit. Ugh.
Yeah, isn't it just? Yeah. It's so wrong.
It's so wrong. But the other part is obviously when you on about the jelly beans before, and she's like, "Oh," eats one, and it's like tastes like watermelon, and he's like, because he's kind of like now knowing or guessing he. But I mean, to be fair, that could just be a normal jelly bean, but you don't really know whether.
So, are you telling me that if you had a talking rabbit that shat jelly beans, you wouldn't eat his jelly beans?
I don't know if it's like the case of, when if people went to like a slaughterhouse for cuts of meat. And it's like, I don't want to eat meat anymore because I know where it comes from and how the process goes, and you turn vegetarian. I don't know if that's...
Would you go cold turkey and not eat a jelly bean again? You can have 3 jelly beans for the rest of your life.
Maybe it's a good thing, not lose some weight from that. So,
Give over! So what if our cat, Arthur, now pooed jelly beans? You wouldn't eat them?
It's a bit weird to see, because of the principle of it came out of an animal's ass.
What if I put them in a jar and was like, here's some jelly beans, sweetie?
Well, I guess what
and
you won't know.
And then you ate them, and then I was like, Arthur just shut them out about 2 days ago.
I don't know, I'd be like, look. It's like one
I'd
of
make
those...
sure you'd swallowed it first.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be just too happy about that, I don't think. But and then we get another instance of, I think I recall, of where why just some people accept the rabbit can talk, but this is occurring when it's obviously this Easter play at the adopted kids doing she's the star of the...
God, did she sing horribly?
She was, which they kind of pointed out.
I'm glad that he kind of interrupted her.
Yeah, a bit of a dick move, really, I think, for, stealing the thunder of...
Well, it wasn't his fault, was it? It was EB's fault.
Oh, yeah.
Not Fred.
No.
Even though Fred looked like kind of the idiot in the end.
Oh, yeah, of course he had to, because, no one can explain, this is a talking rabbit. But they do this out of place, I Want Candy song performance going on, and he's pretending he's like a ventriloquist thing.
I want candy.
But it's just... But, I mean, the kids are always playing the music instruments for that, and it's like, well, I'm sure you didn't prep for that thing. How are you just getting up and doing this exactly like you're ready for this, and you're busting out like you're not a proper musician where you can just freestyle whatever you want on a flick of a switch. But
open mind, Paul. Keep an open mind.
That was very cringe.
Yeah, it was, to be fair. I didn't really enjoy it.
No.
I did like the song, though, and Candy was apt to Easter, apparently, which I was educated. There was quite a few educational pieces within this.
Yes, which one thing I learned from this, if nothing else.
Technically 2, because on the back of the other one we learned something else.
Yeah, that's true. Do you want to take this one?
Yeah.
That's what it was.
So, apparently, rabbits can't throw up. We heard this and we were like, what? So we had to Google it because we didn't believe it was true from the film. I then went, okay, so rabbits can't throw up. What else can't throw up? Can chickens not throw up? And actually they can't either. And, I wish cats couldn't throw up. But actually no, because probably Arthur would be dead if he couldn't throw up with all the hairballs he has.
Yes, yeah.
But I do get sick of having to pick up all his sick. However, no, weirdly enough, bunny rabbits and chickens cannot be sick. Isn't that a nice world to live in? I don't like being sick. I don't think anybody does.
No, nobody does, really.
Horrible vomiting.
Ugh.
So, I know my sister, she absolutely hates vomiting to the point of where she will cry if it has to happen. She's got a phobia of vomiting. There was one experience when I was little, I threw up quite violently.
Yeah.
Something from, what's that film?
You haven't seen it yet, but The Exorcist, I think, is the best way to what you described to me. It's kind of but you were...
I was asleep. I was laid down.
And you vomited upwards.
Yes.
So then it came down on your face somehow. It sounds like something out of a cartoon itself, but...
I promise you, it's 100% true. It happened, and it was horrible. And I cried, and my sister was we slept in the same room at this point. And she went to tell my mum that this had happened. And she was sobbing, to the fact of, absolutely heartbroken that I'd been sick. Not the fact that I was poorly, but the fact that I'd vomited near her.
Yeah.
Was just so my mum had to, bless her, console me because I've got sick all over my face and my hair,
Yeah.
And then kind of be like, oh, it's okay, Sarah, don't worry. But yeah, so I would really like it if I couldn't vomit. I'd love that. I've got a point here, but I don't know where it comes in, if I'm too early or not.
Go on.
But another thing that I learned, and I did think was a valid point, and I Googled this of why the heck do we have an Easter bunny?
Yeah, that's a good enough time as any to bring this up.
because it doesn't really tell you why the Easter Bunny is around with this. It only says about the fact that, really, it should be an Easter chick, because they deliver eggs, and obviously chickens produce eggs.
Just go slightly off topic there a sec, because there was a part earlier on where the Easter Bunny's dad is like to this Carlos, this evil the chick who is obviously evil, because he's like, I want to be the Easter Bunny, basically, and he has these little ear things that he puts on his head, like,
Yeah.
come on, like, here's a hint. But he's like, oh, you can't be an Easter Bunny. It's only for us lot to do. Who ever heard of an Easter chick or something? It's like, well, it's a bit like speciesist, or if that's the right word to call it. It's like, not accepting of other people taking over the role.
Racist within animals.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. so anyway, sorry.
But no, I agree, and I do think, to be fair, the chickens,
because they lay eggs, it kind of makes sense.
But we did Google it again. Thank God for Google. And the reason behind the Easter Bunny is to do with spring being more fertility.
Yeah.
Obviously going on to the lines of, as well, with my bunny rabbits.
Yeah.
With what bunny rabbits do. They breed quite a bit.
Bring new life to the world, yeah.
And obviously with the story, don't forget, obviously what Easter is actually about is Christianity belief.
Yes.
Of Jesus kind of
resurrection,
reborn.
Yeah.
So that's the whole reason behind the Easter Bunny
law, I guess.
However, an Easter chick, I don't think I would be. It's like not like, oh, we can't possibly have a chicken.
Yeah.
But I do think it would work. So yeah, that was my other thing. So actually, it was quite factual.
To a degree.
I really learned some stuff from this movie. Oh, got some more questions that I wanted to learn. So I feel like there's not enough background story for the Easter Bunny.
In this, or just in general?
Just in general, in life, like Santa, you know where he lives, you know about Mrs. Claus, you get to know him.
Universally, Santa, the whole thing behind Christmas and all that kind of stuff is more acceptable, whereas, like you said about Easter, is generally more of a Christian-based holiday type of thing. I know, obviously, the base, because of Jesus being born and in Bethlehem and all the stuff, is also derived from Christianity, but
I think it's kind of gone.
I think it's just more like, there's a lot more profitable stuff you can eke out through December and stuff for that. It's kind of just got out of control a little bit, to be honest. But
I think Easter will come that way eventually. Sadly.
But in fact, it's all you can really give gifts for Easter is eggs, essentially.
Just a way of getting fat, isn't it?
Before exactly.
Summer?
It's like chocolate, yeah. Yeah, so people who like chocolate, that's all it is. So, I know.
What if you don't like chocolate or you're allergic?
I don't know, you get a different type of egg, I'm sure.
Not like you can't. What if you're naughty? Don't get a lump of coal, do you?
No, there's nothing about that, is there?
You know what I mean? There's all this stuff that's like not filled in yet. I never realised until I watched an Easter movie. See? What you've done. What I've done.
What have you done? Well, we're getting to the back end of it now, thankfully. But
you've loved this, really. Give over.
But with this being the back end, it's kind of like this is the only point where we kind of get Carlos, the evil chick's evil scheme come into play. Really, it's like leading up to this. It's not been peppered out throughout the film in any way, kind of thing. It's kind of just like, oh yeah, remember him? He was the bad guy, kind of thing. It's kind of shoehorned in at the end a little bit.
But don't you think the chickens are a little bit evil? Like a bit of a indoctrination kind of thing from Carlos. Like all these chickens are following him now, and they're taking over Easter Bunny. The main Easter Bunny's dad. And
there's more chicks though than there are rabbits, I guess. Because they kind of like maybe like a handful of maybe 6 or 7 of them, and then you kind of just shove them into a locker behind a door, and it's like, okay, why is it just more?
Is it because it's easier to draw a chicken than it is a rabbit?
I mean, not especially. I mean, all chicks are yellow, so I guess there is that argument of you can just copy and paste those ones. Although there's only 2 standout different designs. There's Carlos and this other one. I can't remember what he's called now.
What's with your face? Is it you can't believe you're talking about different sizes?
I know, yeah. I can't remember what the other one's called. He's kind of like he's got this little mohawk thing
He's
or
got a
something.
little quiff and he's quite
He's
creative.
a bit like
He likes to boogie.
Yeah, that's his gimmick.
I love him.
I don't know, just really stupid. But all the other chicks just like look like normal chicks. There's no differentiation between any of them. It's kind of they're just all generic. But it's just to distinguish the fact that this is incompetent. Like sure boss, what do you want me to do? Kind of thing. Like
yeah,
kind of way about it. So then, this is another thing that made me laugh a couple of times every time this was brought up. The egg of destiny.
It probably tickled you.
I think it's just so stupid.
I actually, do you know, until you mentioned egg of destiny, I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, they've been saying it all this time and it had not entered my head that this staff was called the egg of destiny. I don't know why, or don't know if I was just taking it for what it was and you were proper, like, kind of nitpicking, I'm not sure.
I don't know, it just really tickled me. You know, it's supposed to be like some epic, the sword of truth or whatever kind of thing, and it's nothing.
The ring of Mordor.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. That kind of thing, and it's just like the egg of, I don't know, it's really
It had his
funny.
Easter egg powers.
Yeah.
And this was my other gripe.
Yeah, come.
Santa Claus. His powers are within, aren't they, really? His coat's a bit magical, but it's who he is.
Yeah.
If you've just got a staff to make you an Easter bunny, then that's a bit tricky, isn't it? Because if Loki were around, he'd just pinch
exactly,
it.
like
Simple as. So I think it's a bit, I don't know, I feel like the Easter bunny should just be, because he's the Easter bunny, he doesn't have to pass on this magical thing.
Staff, yeah. But with this mutiny of taking over, the chicks are taking over the factory, Carlos then has the egg of destiny, and for some reason he transforms into this abomination chick rabbit hybrid.
Now,
which, go on.
This, I have a gripe with this.
Yeah.
Going further on into the story, towards the ending.
Well, we are,
which we know who the Easter Bunny becomes.
Yeah.
Because we already know it at the beginning.
Yeah.
Why the hell doesn't he have ears and a fluffy tail?
Yes, exactly, yes. Why doesn't he turn disfigured and hideous?
Yeah, so I was a little bit like, okay, right, let's keep it a bit concise.
Coherent.
Yeah.
Coherent, yeah.
Jesus, because it would say it would get me that rattled. But yeah, like, obviously it's more for it being comical and funny, and I try and get where they're coming from, but actually it doesn't really balance itself out. There's a lot of questions of, well, why is this happened to Carlos and not Fred? And
yeah, I agree. It just seems very odd, and he's
maybe it's because he's a bad chicken.
Getting his comeuppance kind of thing, and at the point we obviously looked up after the fact, based on what you said earlier about do birds vomit, because there's like a joke in this where the chicken just spinning around or something, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to be sick," kind of thing. It's like, well, no, that's not true, because we looked it up and
they were quite factual on the bunny rabbits, but not the chicks.
Yeah, it's like
didn't do the background work.
On that one.
Yeah, that was
shame on you.
That was only because I was really curious at this point of like, what animal does not sick up then? Like, think about it. If you got a pet that wasn't sick, that would be grand. That.
And then this, the villain's plan is cut short pretty quick. Just for the fact of he's in the sleigh with the other chicks, and this other one.
Bit.
I really can't remember his name. Let's call him
Chicky with a quiff. Chick with a quiff.
Yeah, whatever. And then EB's got this drum thing. He's like putting a rhythm to this doop thing, and then the funny thing of gag of I can't control the rhythm of my body kind of thing. So he's trying to wave him with those
like fly,
coordinating sticks, whatever you call them. And so the other chicks are like, "Ooh, going all things like, come on, we just want to get out and deliver the eggs or whatever." And
well, it wasn't even eggs, was it? At this point, he changed it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, no, that's right.
Egg.
Yeah.
You were getting birdseed and
like worms and stuff.
Yeah,
like disgusting stuff for everybody. Yeah, and then I think the ship just then crashes, and then it's like, oh, well, he stopped. Good job, everyone. And I think like that's that done. It's like
don't they sing "I Want Candy" again?
No, that was the end credits.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. So then at this point, it's kind of like, thanks, Fred, for saving me. The Easter Bunny's dad. Now, EB's saying, like, oh, yeah, you know what, Dad, I'm accepting of thing. I'll take the mantle for your legacy. But also, could you make Fred, like, co-partner of the thing? So, I don't know if that answers the question of why he didn't transform into an Easter Bunny fully, because if he's co-managing the role...
Possibly, but I think it works well with the fact of EB, if he wants to take a holiday and wants to
the
pursue...
once a year. Oh, the one day he has to work, yeah.
Wants to pursue
drumming,
then obviously he's got somebody else that can do the job. Or let's say he falls ill, it's this co-management thing. It could work quite well.
I don't know, there seems an odd message. It's kind of like, yeah, you know what, Dad, I'll just accept. It's not like Dad, you're not letting me do what I want to do this, and the dad's like, okay, sure, son.
I think Fred should have just been Easter Bunny, full out.
If you're going to go with that, because that's like, say, at the start of the film, it kind of makes out that was how it's going to be. It's kind of like this, well, it's not quite that thing because he's also sharing it with
yeah.
It's
a bit weird at the end. I thought more Fred would be the more worthy Easter Bunny. I know that sounds daft, but he was.
For some reason, he's so hooked on that and just like, whatever. How do you get paid? And
I was going to say that, like, literally.
Unless he just lives on Easter Island, that's that. But then, there are all these logistics anyway, like, even with, like, Santa and stuff, if you think about it that deeply, like, wow, the factory, it's still got moving parts and things that you have to create, and how does that all work, and kind of things. If you think about it too much, I suppose
Magic is always the answer. But I do think the dad, obviously, in the end, for Fred, does seem quite pleased with his son.
That's a bit, but a bit like too acceptance that, oh, good job, son. It's like, really, that was a quick...
Get me some more chocolate. Your dad... No, but to be fair, I did think of you, like, if you became the Easter Bunny, your dad would be made up.
Yeah, just...
It would be like, good job, son. You've got the best job in the world.
Yeah, so put some on the side, yeah.
Yeah. Can I have about 20 Easter eggs, please?
Yeah.
The only other gripe I had was... I felt like they were trying to go on Dancer, on Prancer, on Donna and Vixen.
Yeah.
With the chicks. They had names. And I was just like, okay, come on. You're not Santa. You're not going to be. Stop trying to be. Be your own thing. Be you. Don't try and mimic something. Create something different. Mm-hmm. Why are we clinging on to it? Don't see the Tooth Fairy. She don't have a sledge, does she?
Maybe a few years, maybe we'll get a Tooth Fairy movie.
There is a Tooth Fairy movie.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is that the one with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in? I think I've read rings bell, but I'm meaning more like an animated live action thing of like.
Yeah, no, I think this is actually like human based. Also, though, I feel like there's a lot of there's an Easter Bunny in it, and.
Oh, I think you're thinking of what's it called now? Something like Guardians of something or other, and there's like Jack Frost and Santa was in it as well.
Yeah.
And the Sandman or something, I forget what it was called. Guardian something, I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's probably what I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
I don't think there's an animated version of Tooth Fairy, but to me, she just flies.
What's the other? What other holiday we're missing out on now that's not got like a child-friendly spin on things? Maybe Valentine's Day, something involving Cupid and a little CGI version of him doing something.
Or a ladybird, a love bug.
Love bug.
That'd work better.
I think that is all there is to say on that, really, in terms of what we've covered.
It's been lovely because I've actually had a rest this time. It's been you doing most of the talking. It's been quite refreshing and quite funny to watch you dislike something so much. That does make me happy. I sound cruel, but it's true. So shall we go into the scores? Are we leaving you in suspense and I'm going first, or are you?
Yeah, I'm intrigued to know what yours is. I'm not going to lie. Based on...
I'm not going to be mega harsh because it is a child's movie. You have to remember this. It's for children.
Okay, but here's a question. If you were a mother and you were to
Are
maybe,
you the father to the?
yeah, yeah,
Oh, right,
yes,
okay.
of course. I'm saying this. I'm just saying in a situation where, like,
So if we had a child,
if we had a child, would you let our child watch this film, knowing what the content is in it? Do you think they'd enjoy it? What it is, or
what age are we talking?
well,
Because it would depend on what age. Like if she was about 5, I think we wouldn't have a problem. Like here,
right,
really, all of them things would go over her head
right,
or his head. Have you seen how it's a she? It would go over the heads. Right. Whereas I think if they were a little bit older, they might ask a bit more questions. I think it would be one of those things you could put on when she's little, and they'd be okay with it, and they wouldn't ask much.
Okay.
I think it's that nice magical feel of Easter, like that bit. I think they would really enjoy.
But that's like in the first maybe 5 minutes or so.
I know.
I feel like there's not enough of that.
Maybe we'll have to let her watch the James Corden one without you in the room then.
Okay, but my point I'm trying to get across with that is, based on that, do you think it's on your score? Is it going to be based on whether it's suitable for kids or not, or is it just solely on the thinking, well, would a child like this based on your
I think
scoring?
they would probably like it, and I think if they were little enough, it would go over their heads.
But in your eyes, what would the score be? Obviously, based on the fact that we're viewing it a bit more critically than a child would, so that's what I'm going to get with the scoring. I think it gets a little bit of a point for obviously creating the magical feel of Easter. I've not really had that before. I did love the scene of where you had Fred as the little boy looking down at the Easter bunny, hopping around and hiding the eggs and stuff like that. So like the Easter egg hunt kind of. I was like, oh, well, I really want to do that this year, you know, even though we don't have a child, trying to create a little bit of fun. So I think the magic and the essence was there. Storyline, a little bit lackluster. Nowhere near Christmas or Santa Claus or Noel or anything like that in sense of kind of really having a really strong impact. There was some cringy moments, which we've said. I think I probably am going to score it just a 5. It'll be like it's light-hearted enough, and if you wasn't going to critically watch it, I could just put it in the background and I would be all right with it. I don't hate it, right?
But I don't really love it. But if it's the only Easter movie we've got at the moment to watch, then if I did have children, I would let them watch it.
Okay.
Only when they're younger and not at the point of when they're going to ask what a Playboy mansion is.
Yeah.
So that would be my thing, yeah.
What a sexy bunny is, yeah.
Yeah. If you're 5, hopefully she wouldn't know what a sexy bunny is.
Certainly hope not. Okay.
So, 1, are we going to actually get a 1? Or a 2? I'm intrigued to know your scores because you absolutely hated this.
So I know the lowest score I've given on this podcasting journey that we've been on is 3, and that was for the remake of The Lion King, the live action quotation marks.
And I believe mine was recently the lowest score for me was a 3.
No, the lowest score for you was Borat. That was a 2.
Was it? Well, yeah, it was. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was the early days.
Yeah, that was when you was really horrible to me. So this is payback. So if this is a 2 compared to Borat, I mean, come on. It can't. Go on, tell me. Tell me.
I don't know whether to...
Go with your heart, Paul.
The heart is telling me, I'm not going to lie, it probably is a 2, but I don't know whether to be really generous and give it a 3.
No, don't be generous. We're critiques.
But I cannot see any real value in seeing this again. I just, on a personal enjoyment for me, it just wasn't particularly enjoyable at all.
What about leaving the I want candy?
No, definitely not. That was absolutely horrendous. And
did it ruin it for the jelly beans? Is that why you're giving it a 2?
No, it was just more, like I said, Russell Brand is, they could have picked maybe somebody else. That might not have been so bad. I think it's just knowing that he's in it, that kind of like puts a bit of a stigma to it.
Also, we forgot to say that he had a cameo, didn't we, as well?
Oh, yeah, briefly. Just we had to get that in as well.
We had to see his ugly face.
Yeah. So I'm sorry to be harsh, but I'm going to go a 2 for this one because
Boo! Hiss!
So,
Throw rotten tomatoes at you.
yeah, because all I can say because there's another thing about the animation as well, because the animation in the Lion King remake, I can give credit to that because it does look really good, and obviously in animation roles and stuff, I kind of value that in a sense. But I mean, the animation was okay in this. It obviously things like this are always going to look a bit dated anyway in terms of what the CGI can do. So, I mean, the characters. I can't even obviously talk about this before in a sense, but they just don't look that appealing. They're kind of just a bit near. Really, there's nothing outstanding or special about the designs. Really, there's nothing. It just doesn't really.
I'll agree with you on that one. I think, to be fair, the only bit of the animation that I think they really got on point was when they showed the Easter factory. I think that was the main part of the appeal, and I think that was the strongest part of the film, really.
Yeah, so I think what probably would have benefited this one, I know they maybe took a bit of a gamble with doing the Illuminations, doing this, making this a live action one. Maybe if it had been all like computer animated,
Yeah,
throughout, like they do all in their previous work before with Despicable Me, and then they continued to do.
yeah,
I think that may have worked maybe more in its favour. I think because obviously, yes, like you said, the most magical part of it, you kind of just wanted to see more of that whimsical, essentially colourfulness of the factory with all the eggs being made and all that. So you kind of want to see more of that side of the world. Yeah, so I can only sadly only give it a 2 for.
No, that's fine. It's your opinion at the end of the day, and that's what we're giving.
Yeah.
You know, it's each to their own. Everyone has different styles and different unique choices. And I hope that you've just really enjoyed Paul's suffering like I have, because I think it's quite funny. You get more het up about these things than I do, and you see, once you're on it and you're like nitpicking, you nitpick at like everything. You don't let anything slide. Like,
no, if I know it's going to be something that's really bad, or even if it's like a good, so bad it's good type of thing, you know, like watching Troll 2, you know, that famously bad thing, and it's kind of just like, just how did they get away with this with the actors and stuff, and but it's just funny just to laugh at thing. Those kind of things are always fun to talk about because it's just like having a good laugh about it and stuff. But then you get things like this where it's just like what's supposed to be taken as a very simple basic kids film, but it's just how it comes across. And to me, that's kind of just grating, and therefore it's kind of I feel it makes for good content when you are the long and short of it, and especially if you've been so nitpicky with things and just pointing out these things that people maybe not even think about, but in a way. But yeah. So I do hope you've enjoyed this episode, this Easter themed episode.
Well, I personally have. I've really enjoyed it. It's been an early Easter gift to me. Seeing you not so enjoy the movie, that's normally my side of things. So I'm really happy about that. Shame we couldn't have done like an Easter month, no? Like, do you not want to eke that out?
No. I really don't, no. We'll get on to a normal schedule of films that we'll look into.
But, we've got a lot of things coming up in April, haven't we, where we're going to be trying to branch out a little bit more. So we've got some guests, and we're going to be guesting on some other podcasts too. So once they get put out, we will let you know where they are to find, and so you can check those out as well.
Yeah. But in the meantime, you can check out all our other episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, and wherever else you may get your podcasts from. And of course, if you want to get in touch with us and give us a follow and like our stuff, you can find us on the socials, on Instagram and Twitter mostly, under the handle SP_filmviewers.
Yeah, so leave us a comment, let us know if there's anything you think we're missing that we could really review, and something Paul would hate, or I would love, or vice versa. Hopefully the first one first. That'd be appreciated if there's something that we haven't really picked up on that we could watch and review. Definitely give us a shout on that too. It'd be much appreciated.
With all that being said, thank you very much for listening once again, and we will speak to you next time.
Yep, hope you have a wonderful Easter, and we'll speak to you next time.
Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.